Howdy, Hacksters! While some of us are still stuck inside, that doesn't mean we have to be out of the game completely. So I thought today I'd share with you some cool upcoming virtual events that you can attend from anywhere in the world, some of which are totally free. So the first one is actually in this category. It is Campus Party Digital Edition. Actually, 30 or more than 30 countries are participating in this. It's a really cool technological summit that incorporates elements of popular culture as well. And I went one time, it was in Guadalajara, and it was awesome. So this is actually free. It's taking place over 3 days, July 9th through 11th, and it is happening 24 hours a day during those 3 days. Super cool. You can join any of those 30 plus countries and see streams from Al Gore, Edward Snowden, and many more. You can explore the agenda at usa-digital.campus-party.org. As always, that's kind of a hefty URL. As always, I've put those in the description to this video so you can check them out either right now or afterwards. Ooh, Global Main Stage in Pursuit of the Unknown by Rosemary Tan. Let's check that out. You gotta sign in. Well, anyway, green power, that sounds very exciting to me. Building smarter cities with urban innovation. Heck yeah, cool. Go check it out. 3 days, 24 hours a day, splendid. My little notes screen has decided to die, so let's refresh that. Okay, so that's Campus Party Digital Edition, July 9th through 11th. Next up, we have Virtual Semicon West. Let's see, what words do they use to describe it? Our digital platform brings together microelectronics, manufacturing, and design professionals from around the globe and offers the full-featured experiences that you've come to expect, live stream keynotes and executive panels, technical sessions covering relevant topics, AI, advanced manufacturing, packaging, materials, tests, silicon, photonics, diversity and inclusion, and more. Connect in real time with 100 plus exhibitors via virtual exhibit booths. This is something I'm especially interested in checking out because I'm always fascinated by how companies are doing telepresence. This is something that not only is beneficial during COVID times, but also for accessibility all times, and good for cutting our carbon costs as well with travel. So I really hope to see more interesting ways that people are doing this. And for example, one of the exciting things about Semicon West in particular to me is this idea of digital pavilions. So there's these things called smart pavilions that they have, which include manufacturing, medical technology, mobility, workforce, and then 2 new ones, which are QEDC Quantum. I'm not sure what QEDC is, but Quantum and Southeast Asia Pavilions. If you look at pricing and registration, a lot of this you can actually access for free. So if you click the Expo Pass option, you can complimentarily access for 60 days the expo. And during the actual show hours, which again is July 20th through 23rd, you be able to talk to actual representatives at those virtual expo booths. Additionally, you'll be able to access these smart pavilions that I just described for 60 days to watch those on demand. There's networking rooms available for free. I'm not sure what SOI, but there's a partner program that you can access for free for 60 days on demand. And then, of course, there's a bunch of extra bonus stuff that you get as a paying member. I'm also curious to see what kinds of things people offer to paying members. So, for example, in this case, you'll be able to access slides from the sessions with speaker agreement if you pay for a ticket or if your company pays for one. There's a testing community symposium you'll be able to get, industry updates, bulls and bears, and a custom post-show report, things like that. I've also seen versions of virtual events where, for example, the people who paid for tickets would get a goodie bag, the people who didn't wouldn't, or the people who paid for tickets had access to a special Slack channel, or where you could discuss the various events and panels that were going on, or you would be able to access via Mozilla Hubs a 3D interactive world where you could watch these things together and talk to other attendees. But if you didn't purchase a ticket, then you'd only be able to watch a 2D version on YouTube. That, I think, is a really fascinating application of telepresence for these. Of course, this stream is just focused on 4 events that are coming up that you can check out. If you're getting bored of me talking about telepresence, I can geek out about it for hours. There are other videos about that, but you can just scroll down, click the links in the description, and fast forward through all of this. There's some more info about it on the welcome page if you look in the top toolbar here, tab bar. You could also become an exhibitor. They might still have spaces for that. Cascadia.js, JavaScript conference. JavaScript and Python have been becoming very popular for people building robots, via, for example, you got Node.js, and then you've also got things like Cylon and Formato that allow you to control robots from your that run Arduino from your command line, which is pretty fascinating. So anyway, those 2 languages I think are becoming very popular with IoT developers and with roboticists. JavaScript in particular, when it comes to things like Adafruit's Circuit Playground Express, and the BBC Microbit, both of which you can program using Microsoft's Make Code online interface, which allows you to easily switch between block coding, like Scratch, similar to that, versus JavaScript. And you can have the same code and toggle back and forth between block programming, drag and drop stuff, edit little things, very kid-friendly, very beginner-friendly for any stage of life, and JavaScript, which is not only used for robots and stuff, but for real people programming real stuff on the internet. There seems to be some, cultural whatevers around the choice of JavaScript and when to use it, but I've found that Cascadia.js is a really positive, supportive community, and it's a great group to get involved with, even if you're just curious about JavaScript. So that's happening on September 1st and 2nd, 2020 in cyberspace. If you want to receive a goodie box in the mail, you can register by July 24th. Just go to 2020.cascadiajs.com, and yeah, you can check out a few of the upcoming talks are highlighted on this very dynamic main page. Musical creativity in the browser. That sounds amazing. I would love to watch that. You might not need a build step. Redwood.js, bringing full stack to the Jamstack. What's a Jamstack? I don't know. Building better communities with mental health support. Heck yeah. The human side of operability. The past, present, and future of favicons. Interesting. This is very web focused. But there's a lot of overlap between that and the types of robots that people are building nowadays. So I think it's a fascinating topic, and it should be a great conference. Check out all these amazing speakers! Tiger Oaks, what a cool name. Anyway, somebody singing, oh my goodness, what is it? Can't think of the George Michael song they're singing here, but it's a great song. Okay, anyway, there's also an event on July 15th. It's called a pre-funk. It's like a pre-conference event with a couple of speakers. You can check that out. It's probably going to be in the schedule tab or something like that. Not sure. I just got an email that had links to all of these things. There's opportunity scholarships. If you want to get a discount on a ticket, you can check out the opportunity scholarships to grow a strong, healthy, vibrant JavaScript community. Fantastic. Workshops. There are 8 workshops, and I think there's like 5 hours per day over 2 days, unless I'm confusing that with a different one. I'm confusing it with a different one. Anyway, September 8th and 9th is when these workshops are happening, and they are 50 seats each, as far as I can tell. So you should check these out early if you're interested. Just make sure that if any of these look fascinating to you, grab a spot early, because they could sell out. Finally, Hardware.io, that's WEAR, is a hardware security conference. I've seen all kinds of fascinating stuff. When I went to one of these last year, I know that they're a really intelligent community, and I think that hardware security is something that's not typically focused. Like, either it's a sort of little sideline in a hardware conference, or a little sideline in a security conference. So for it to have its own community and own conference is really fascinating. This is actually the Netherlands version of it. You might remember that a little while ago I told you about the upcoming US version. This is the Netherlands version, but you can access it from anywhere. Reserve your seat now. Registration is open. Yeah, fairly expensive, but I think there should be some other options as well. Oh yeah, a conference pass. Cool. And when is this happening? This is happening September 27th through 30th. There are 8 hardware security trainings happening over 4 days, 5 hours per day. And I think there's also going to be a number of just straight up talks and things, online trainings. There's a call for proposals, which may or may not still be open. Anyway. Oh yeah, that has closed, alas. But you can go check out all the info on the conference itself and go register at the link below in the description. 4 events. We got Campus Party, Digital Edition. We got Semicon West. We have Cascadia JS. Careless Whisper. That's the song. That's the George Michael song they're playing here. Anyway, and then Hardware.io, the only one that I've seen that is a hardware security specific conference. I'm sure there's others, but I know that these people are on point. They're great people. It's a great community. Go check it out. Furthermore, if you don't feel like putting in the bandwidth to attend an entire conference online, just go to Hackster.io/news to stay up to date on all the latest news happenings in the hardware community. So, yeah, I, for one, do not always have the time to dedicate, or the attention span to dedicate to an entire conference. And so I like to just poke around on our blog and watch out for cool stuff coming across. And there's some really cool stuff right now I'm going to show you in just a second. But first, let's take a look at the comments. Hey, Mohib! Mohib says there's an event having a brewery deliver beer for a virtual happy hour. Are they delivering beer to the actual attendees so that they can each have a beer at the happy hour? Can I request like a liqueur or something? That'd be great. Apparently the Dragon spacecraft, according to Mohib, runs JavaScript on the consoles. What? That's super cool. So yeah, JavaScript. That's quite some hardware, by the way, the Dragon spacecraft. So if you needed any more proof that JavaScript is the way to go, super cool. Tariq says, hey, how are you? I'm great, thanks. Let's look at some more cool stuff. This ingenious Lego ROV submarine relies on clever magnetic couplings. So this is a really cool robot made out of Tupperware. The interesting thing here is that it's not technically Tupperware, I think. It's one of those glass bottom food storage containers with a little clippy top that snaps onto it with like a silicone seal. So if I were to build a robot with that, I would be like, I'm not going to build a robot with that because I'd have to drill holes in it in the enclosure in order to put motors on the outside. But guess what? Well, you probably already know because the name of the article is about how it uses a clever magnetic coupling. But check it out. They do a sweet little step-by-step build on here. And each of these 3 sets of motors is driven by an internal motor where the electronics are stored on the inside of the glass container. They've got a little camera in there and a little captain as well, who even has a little cable knit sweater. Amazing. And then they've weighted it correctly to make sure that it is neutral buoyancy. Anyway, they're using these neodymium magnets that they've used to create a coupling from the inside to the outside. And here's the part that I was especially excited about. They call it low friction Uhmw tape. Let's look that up, actually. Uhmw tape. What is it? What does it stand for? Anyway, it's just a really slippery tape that you can get on McMaster, and that basically helps reduce the friction between the motors that they're using, or the magnets they're using as part of the motor couplings, and the glass. So you see how it's going kind of slow here. Then they apply this low friction tape on both sides of the glass, and suddenly it spins much faster with a much lower friction. That's fantastic. I've never heard of this stuff before, but it sounds really cool for building robots with. There's tons of other cool stuff in this article. You should check it out. But that's what blew my mind about this one. Next up, we have a VFD. Oh, I should remind myself what that stands for. Vacuum. Oh, I don't remember. It's similar to a Nixie tube. vacuum something display. I could be lying. Anyway, it's a really cool sort of vintage style display in a glass tube, which makes it, it's like nerd candy. Oh my goodness. I do kind of want to eat it every time I see this stuff, but don't. It's made of glass. And the cool thing here, one of the cool things here, is that they made a cool clock out of it. It's very beautiful. As you can tell, I'm a fan of the lighting. Anyway, and they put a little tap sensor in it that is touchless. So they have a little microphone that they point out here at this part in the video, mounted on the circuit board, and it talks to this little ESP32 that's driving it. And then in a moment, they're going to tap the desk, and then the display lights up. It's so cool, and it shows the time. I love this idea for how to do a little touchless display. You don't even need any kind of capacitive touch, resistive touch, whatever. All you need is a little tiny microphone that senses a sound level, and then you just give it a little boop boop, and it, presumably you make it so that it doesn't just recognize a single dog bark or something. So presumably the double tap is a sort of false positive prevention measure. And then, yeah, you were just able to make the thing turn on with a simple little double tap just using a microphone. It's so cool. Let's take a look at some more of these. So that is the desk clock. We also have, so Digi Spark is one of my favorite little boards for prototyping with. It's an AT-Tiny 85 or an AT-Tiny 85 mounted on what's essentially barely more than a little USB plug. And at Tiny 85, you can program with Arduino code, and they make it really simple, because normally if you're using an Arduino Uno, to program it, you have to run all these wires between, and it's a huge pain in the butt. But this one is, the Tiny Arduino, oh my goodness, the Digi Spark. The Digi Spark is like a board that just makes it all in one really easy. You just plug it into your USB port and you go. So this is the CircuitPython version of that, using an ATSAMD21 chip. And it comes in two versions. One of them has a little USB-C port on it, a female port, and then the other one has the same USB-A male plug that you have on the Digi Spark, which makes it so very useful. I built bike lights with that thing. It's fantastic. And so the idea of being able to have a similar board that runs CircuitPython is very exciting. So this is actually old news. This is from 10 months ago. The new news is that he's now made, this Arturo fellow has now made a different board, which is a breadboard-friendly microcontroller with a little color display on it. Look at this. All the pins are broken out, and each of them gets its own row on the breadboard. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, no problem. A little latching power switch, a barrel jack connector for power, a USB-C connector, a few USB programmable buttons, a LiPo connector, a reset button, all this cool stuff. And it looks like there's a little RGB LED connected in there as well. Plus, it talks to the power and ground rails, so you don't have to worry about that either. Look at all this stuff. So that looks extremely exciting to me. It calls it a feather-ish pinout. Adjustable 1.8 to 12 volts at 3 amps. Are you joking? Are you joking? So you get 3.3 volts plus at 2 amps, also 5 volts at 2 amps, and also an adjustable 1.8 to 12 amps at 3 amps. That's ridiculous. And current measurement. It can be powered from USB, a 4.5 to 12 volt DC jack, or a LiPo. I need a rest after all that. So that's the Serpano. The earlier one is the Serpente, and this new one is the Serpano. They're both linked in the description below. Go check them out. This one is for basically, your rapid prototyping. I just want to get something out the door. It barely needs to do anything, just maybe control some lights or whatever. This is the Serpente. Go for whichever version, USB-C, USB-A, whatever you want. And then the Serpano is the more full-featured, like, I want to do X, Y, Z, F, and Q, and I need to have a little color screen and everything, and then eventually, you figure out what exactly you want, and then you port it onto another board, maybe for your final version. But this is an amazing Like you can have a little debug readout right there on the screen. That's what I've been doing with the. If you checked out my video from last Friday, I was messing around with the Arduboy and I had a lot of trouble getting debug messages on the serial monitor. And instead, I was just able to print them to the little Arduboy built-in LCD screen or OLED screen, and that's what you can do here. Plus, it's full color. That's ridiculous. But especially with all of those available power outputs, I feel like you'd be able to get some good data on, for example, analog out or whatever. Yeah, cool. Finally, Paul Stofferden's Ethernet kit. We did a couple videos earlier on the Teensy 4.1. This is an amazing board. It has a so if you're familiar, Teensy has always been a platform. Very powerful, very small, very fast. Good for things like motor control, controlling lots of lights, and doing audio out stuff. Filter pedals, custom MIDI interfaces, and things like that. Entire synthesizers built on the Teensy 4.1. The 4.1 is amazing. It's got a built-in SD card holder and USB interfaces. It can be a USB host as well as a client. And it can also do Ethernet. And all you needed for that is a little adapter board that Paul has now made available for you to order as a kit. All you have to do is solder it together. It comes as these parts. And yeah, now you can have a Teensy with Ethernet to drive a ridiculous amount of LEDs or something like that at extremely low latency, which is awesome. So, and it's only $3.60. Again, this is linked in the description to this video. If you just got extremely excited, you can just scroll down and click the link. I won't tell. Oh yeah, also recently I did a video on doing touch responsive robots with the Teensy. So if you want some touch responsive stuff, Ethernet stuff, SD card stuff, audio stuff, go to the Teensy. It's amazing. And then my last tab here is that Uhmw tape. This didn't answer my question of what it stands for. It's probably just like HDPE or something where it stands for the material type. But I'm going to find out. I'm going to put it in the description so it's solved for all of us. Oh, this one says its material is polyurethane foam. None of those letters. Well, maybe it's urethane. I don't know. Ultra high. No, I don't know. That doesn't resolve to a coherent acronym for me. But we'll find out. I'm going to put it in the description. In the meantime, go check out these events. Go sing some Careless Whisper, go to Cascadia.js, go to Semicon West, go to Campus Party Digital Edition, and go to Hardware.io Netherlands Edition. Go check out our blog and buy yourself a little Teensy upgrade. That's all I got for you today. If you want more than that, I'm sorry, I'm out. But yeah. Oh, Mohib came through with the Careless Whisper identification. Anyway. Thank you for watching. As always, share your comments below. If I missed anything that's coming up and it's really exciting, I'd love to throw it in tomorrow's video. Otherwise, we'll see you soon. And as always, hack on.